Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something practical. The art, maybe the science too, of connection. How to make people genuinely like you.
Yeah, and we're using Leil Lowndes' book, How to Make Anyone Like You, as our guide for this.
Right. And this one's really for you, the listener, someone who wants to get a solid grasp on interpersonal dynamics, quickly and thoroughly.
Exactly. We're aiming to cut through the noise, find that sweet spot of useful knowledge you can actually, well, use.
Our mission then is to pull out the most actionable stuff, the surprising bits from Lowndes, give you strategies for networking, friendships, even romance.
Basically, distilling the essence of likability without making your head spin.
Okay, let's dive in. So one of the first big things Lowndes talks about is just how crucial relationships are. Friendships, love.
Yeah, she argues they're fundamental, not just nice extras, but core to our security, our happiness, maybe even more than money.
Which is a big statement, but it makes you think, how much do we really invest in just being likable, building those bonds?
Well, she points out that many people focus maybe too much just on finding the one, romance and neglect building that broader foundation of general likability.
That foundation that supports everything else. Makes sense.
And when you meet someone new, that first impression, Lowndes says authentic confidence is everything.
Not just acting confident.
No, it has to be real felt inside. Like those Olympic athletes she mentions, their confidence comes from like deep practice and knowing they can do it.
Okay, so it's an internal state that people pick up on.
Definitely. And she gives some really specific ways to signal this and connect instantly, like the eye contact thing.
Oh yeah, the extra beat of the blinkers.
Exactly. Holding that gaze just a tiny bit longer than usual. It's subtle, but apparently it taps into something primal. It says, hey, I'm actually seeing you.
Like a little neon sign saying, we're connecting. I like that.
It makes the other person feel, well, noticed. Special, even.
And then there's the smile.
Yeah.
Not just any smile, right?
The slow smile, it kind of blooms across your face gradually. It suggests genuine pleasure, not just a polite reflex.
The timing is key, she says. Makes it feel more real.
Precisely. It lets the other person register that they are the reason for the smile. More impactful.
So it's about projecting, but also reading others.
Oh, absolutely. Huge emphasis on reading nonverbal cues. She breaks it down like body language is 50% of the message.
50%.
Yeah. Then tone of voice is 30%, and the actual words only 20%.
Wow. So we should be watching posture, gestures, all that stuff first.
That's the idea. Respond to the body language before you even process all the words. It shows you're really tuned in.
That requires paying attention.
It does. And speaking of communication, she gets into these interesting concepts. Disguise my dialogue and degirl my dialogue, basically tailoring how you speak based on gender norms to improve understanding.
Okay, how does that work for men talking to women?
She suggests softening requests, maybe using more words that express feelings, and actively asking for her opinion, trying to be more collaborative.
So leaning into empathy, building rapport.
Pretty much. And conversely, for women talking to men, the D-girl advice is maybe lower the vocal pitch slightly, be more direct, use fewer feeling words, and skip the unnecessary apologies.
So aiming for more directness, assertiveness, which might be perceived more clearly.
That seems to be the goal.
Yeah.
Clarity, cutting through potential static. It's kind of provocative. Makes you think about how often we don't adjust our styles.
Definitely food for thought. Okay, what about actually walking into a room full of strangers? That can be intimidating.
Right. She has this technique called the Emperor's New Clothes. You basically pretend you see friends across the room.
You imagine them.
Yeah, and you glide towards these imaginary friends, looking confident, maybe nodding to a few real people on the way. Then you pick someone standing alone and strike up a conversation.
So you look purposeful, and the person you approach feels singled out in a good way. Clever.
It helps you project ease, and it's a kind way to initiate. And then the initial physical contact, the handshake.
Oh man, the handshake. So many ways to get it wrong.
Totally. Lowndes breaks it down.
Yeah.
Eye contact throughout. She even says note their eye color to make sure you're really looking.
Note their eye color. That's specific.
It ensures focus.
Yeah.
Then make sure the webs of your thumbs touch that space between thumb and forefinger.
Okay, why that?
Suggests comfort with intimacy, apparently, not holding back. And the firmness, not too limp. The dead fish, definitely not the bone crusher.
The dreaded bone crusher. Or the overly enthusiastic politician's pump.
Avoid just a confident, firm, connected shake. says a lot quickly.
It really does. And hugs. She has a whole system for
A
hugs.
hug and every, yeah, different hugs convey different things. Like
Right.
a quick one-arm hug is
Yeah.
pretty casual, distant.
Okay.
An A-frame pat where you lean in but keep your lower bodies apart. That's polite but still reserved.
Right.
Then there's the heart-to-heart hug, upper bodies touching for good friends. The real connection there.
And the ultimate.
The bear hug, full embrace, shows deep affection. But, context is everything. You don't want to give a bear hug to a new business contact.
Probably not. Good way to make things awkward fast.
Exactly. Knowing the language of hugs helps avoid that.
Okay, so you've made contact. How do you keep the conversation going smoothly?
Key phrase, react faster, answer faster.
Meaning?
Don't let long, awkward pauses creep in. Keep the energy up. When someone asks you something, give a fuller answer, not just one word, and always try to toss the conversational ball back.
Ask a follow-up question. Keep it moving.
Yeah, shows you're engaged, interested. It keeps the interaction alive.
What about shyness? That holds a lot of people back.
Lowndes acknowledges it's tough. She says it might seem cute in kids, but in adults, it can really limit your life, your opportunities.
So what's the solution? Just stop being shy.
If only. No, she frames it as something you overcome with practice. Like any skill, you get better at social interaction by, doing it, pushing your comfort zone a bit.
Makes sense. Practice, practice, practice.
And here's something I found really powerful. The questions we ask ourselves, especially after a screw-up.
Instead of, why am I so stupid?
Exactly. That just digs you deeper. She says, ask things like, okay, what can I learn from this? Or what could I do differently next time?
Shifts the focus from blame to growth.
Totally. It's about training your inner voice to be more constructive, more resilient.
That's a really useful mindset shift. Okay, moving on to maintaining relationships once you've formed them.
Right. She talks about the gift of optimism. Just being a generally positive person is attractive, and it influences how you and others handle things.
Your positive energy can actually rub off on people.
Yeah, it's a valuable thing to bring to any relationship.
Yeah.
And then she introduces friend insurance.
Friend insurance, for when things go wrong.
Exactly. Having loyal friends, maybe true love as your backup, your support system when life throws curveballs. But it's not automatic.
You have to invest in it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Invest your time, your personality, genuine affection. You build that security over time.
It ties into her other point. You don't make friends, you earn them.
Strong statement, right? Friendship isn't just taking. You need to have something to give support, laughter, insights, whatever your gifts are, and offer them freely.
So it's reciprocal. Mutual inspiration, mutual support.
That's the ideal. And she has specific tips, like for guys wanting to bond with other guys, do my mate's bag.
Do his bag. What does that mean?
Haha. It means figure out what activities your male friend enjoys and arrange to do them together. Shared experiences are often key for male bonding.
Ah, okay. Less talk, more doing stuff together.
Often, yeah. Though she adds a caution, if women try this with male friends, be aware it might be misinterpreted romantically.
Good point. And what about workplace connections?
Small things matter, like
Right.
just genuinely saying, thanks, you made my day, when a colleague helps you out. It builds goodwill, strengthens those professional ties.
Acknowledging people's contributions. Simple but effective.
Very. And finally, in this bit, she draws a line between just being popular, maybe superficially, like the cool kid in school, and being genuinely liked.
Popularity can be fleeting, based on trends.
Right. But genuine likability, built on respect and real connection, that's more sustainable, more rewarding in the long run.
It feels deeper. Okay, what about appearance? How much does that factor in? She calls it, how's my packaging?
Yeah, she's direct about it. Your appearance is often the very first piece of data people get. It happens in seconds, influences their initial reaction.
So we need to look like supermodels.
Not at all. It's more about projecting health, self-respect, and confidence in yourself. Feeling good about how you present yourself, that's the key part of the packaging.
Feeling comfortable and confident in your own skin, whatever your style is.
Exactly. She touches on things like glasses, maybe making men seem smarter. But the effect on women's perceived attractiveness might be mixed. The core message is present your best, authentic self.
Authenticity seems to be a running theme.
It really is. Which ties into storytelling, too. Sharing personal stories, even small ones, makes you memorable.
Shows vulnerability, creates connection.
Yes, exactly. It makes you more relatable, more human. And on the flip side, showing genuine interest in other people's stories and passions is crucial.
Asking questions, really listening.
Absolutely. Active listening, open-ended questions. She even suggests that sometimes you might need to feign interest initially just to get the ball rolling, find that point of connection.
Hmm. Feigning interest sounds a bit manipulative.
I see that.
Yeah.
But maybe think of it as priming the pump, giving the connection a chance to spark by showing willing engagement, hoping genuine interest follows. It's a fine line, maybe.
Okay, I can see that perspective. Building rapport sometimes needs a little jumpstart.
And circling back briefly to male friendships, she reiterates that shared activities are often the glue. Understanding that can help navigate those relationships. Doing things together matters.
Got it. Now let's talk romance. This gets complicated.
Doesn't it always? Lowndes talks about the chemistry of early love. That intense, head-over-heels feeling often involves a neurochemical called PEA, phenylethylamine.
So that crazy in love feeling is literally chemical.
Largely, yes, it creates euphoria, excitement. But our bodies can't keep producing it at those high levels forever. The initial high fades.
Which is why maintaining long-term passion is challenging.
Very. She suggests it's often linked to overcoming adversity together, or maybe the threat of loss, or even just physical separation creating longing. It needs different fuel.
Interesting. What else influences attraction?
She mentions the look for a look-alike idea, that we're sometimes subconsciously drawn to people who physically resemble us.
Like, we find familiarity attractive.
Could be. It's a fascinating thought. And when it comes to actually starting something, initiation is key. If you want to date, you must initiate.
And that's not just on the guys.
Nope. She argues women often play a much bigger role in initiating than people realize, maybe through signals, cues.
Ah, okay. And when someone approaches you.
Match their energy level. Think lyrical, not lyrics. It's less about the specific cheesy pickup line and more about the overall vibe, the flow, the connection you feel in that moment.
The feeling, not just the words. Makes sense.
For guys making the approach, she advises respect. Start with eye contact, maintain a comfortable distance, and crucially, she's the ball game, not the ball game.
Meaning?
Meaning the interaction, the connection with her is the important part, not just convincing her to go do something like watch a game. Focus on the person.
Right, and compliments.
Go beyond the obvious. She suggests slightly exaggerated, even poetic compliments can be really effective. Make her feel unique.
Okay, noted. Finally, she talks about knights. What are those?
Knights are your network friends, people with diverse skills, expertise, your go-to person for legal advice, your friend who knows cars, the tech guru.
Ah, like building a personal board of advisors through friendship?
Sort of. It's that friend insurance idea again,
Yeah.
but focused on practical help and expertise. Cultivating these connections provides invaluable resources.
And you should be proactive about it. Knight recruiting.
Yeah. Identify people with useful skills, befriend them, and importantly, share your gifts back. Make it a two-way street. Build a mutually supportive network.
That's really practical advice for life in general.
It really is. So, wrapping this all up, making people like you, building those connections, it's not magic. It's a skill set.
Involving confidence, communication, verbal and nonverbal empathy, and actively investing in relationships.
Exactly. These are all things you, our listener, can actually try out. Start small, maybe.
Yeah, pick one thing, like the eye contact, or asking better questions, or just offering a genuine compliment.
And see what happens. We really hope these insights give you some tools to enhance your connections.
Definitely. So here's a final thought to leave you with. Which of these ideas really resonated? Which likability principle stood out most?
And maybe think about how focusing on just that one thing might shift your interactions, even just a little bit. And what kind of friend insurance are you building right now?
Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.